There we go. There. There. Does that chat showing up on the window, the main window now? Good morning, Camro Drone. How are you doing this morning? Thank you, Pete. I know a lot of people don't use that type of chat in there, but I'm the type of person I usually edit my streams that come back out for recording purposes. And the minute you do any editing, YouTube takes the stream chat and disables it. But if I have it in my own window, I can edit it and end up having it in the window, because if you don't, you end up on the retake as you're basically talking to yourself, as there's no chat there, so there's no sense in having it up there, as far as I'm concerned, anyways. So how's everybody's morning going? Little E up yet, Lynn? If you would, as you come in, click that old thumbs up button. Snap that thumb right off. Ah. Dreaming about chickens in her sleep, I'll bet. Ah. Camro drone in Japan. What is the weather like in Japan now? Are you still going into summer, or are you more or less headed into fall and winter now? You dream about chickens? Now, do you dream about chickens themselves, or chicken in general, meaning more like barbecued, fried, that type of thing? Why, thank you, R5 Ventures. Yeah, I had some technical difficulties with my internet this morning, and I haven't done live streams in quite a while, and I decided to dig my OBS out, and I haven't had that out in a while, so it needs some updates and various different things. So I'll probably get back into doing some live streams once or twice a week, anyways. And trouble is, when I do a live stream, I have a tendency, I like to do themes type, live streams where I'm all prepared with themes and overlays and various different things like that. It seems like it runs it a little bit better. I am finer than baby's frog here, R5. Thanks for asking. How are you doing this morning? Ah, the Buff Orpington, the lavender Buff Orpington. There, spit that out. Say that 3 times fast. Plus tax. Oh. You must be just about ready to do some fishing and camping, aren't you, R5? The family out there? I'm not going to be on long. I'll probably just do an hour. Like I say, I'm trying to work some bugs out and whatnot at the same time. I got some videos to edit and some other things to work out, along with dealing with the yard birds down there. I've got some culling to do and various different things. Komodo dragons. Well, good morning, Brenda from Maniac Grammy's homestead. How are we doing today? How is the knee doing? Oh, bearded dragons. I thought you were talking about Komodo dragons. I was going to say, kind of big dragon to be having in your house. Hey there, Big Steve. How's it going? Come on in, pull up a chair. Coffee's on me. You got to bring your own donut, so. How's Big Steve doing this morning? Big green iguanas or the smaller ones there, Steve? Papa Yankee? Oh. Well, good morning, Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. Fancy meeting you here. Yeah, you've been a long time subber. I decided to get back into some live streams. This is just more of a coffee and chit chat style, but I'm gonna get into some theme style live streams a bit later. It's nice to have you in here. You would do good at it. You really would. If anybody doesn't know Pine Meadow Hobby Farm, pardon me if my memory's not with me, but I do believe you're up in the northwest, if I remember right, up in Oregon or Washington. He has a little bit of everything. Everything from uh, geese, chickens, goats, all kinds of animals. He has the luxury of having to put up with a lot of weather and related stuff. Anything from water and mudsliding type stuff, and a lot of, if I remember right, a lot of fire stuff going on in your area too. Fire zones and stuff coming up the mountain. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I haven't been on your channel in a while. I do watch it every now and then. I might not make a comment all the time, but I do watch it. I have a tendency to get hard time getting watch other people's channels lots of times. I try to use my own comment section that's down in analytics. Everybody knows where that is, and it kind of gives you a list of people that have commented on your channel, and I try to hit them first and go down through there. By the time I go through all those that have commented on your channel already, then you lose time and stuff, and it's not exactly the right way to do it. But I find if you're going to leave a comment on my channel, I want to take care of those people first, and then go from there. But it's hard either way. What you got new coming up on your channel, Pine View? Pine Meadows, I'm sorry. I don't have an awful lot of rules. Everybody respect each other. That's the way I look at it, Lynn. Try to keep the negativity to a minimum. Everybody give everybody respect. I'm not much into the rules unless like I say, if somebody's getting hurt or bullied or anything like that. I don't want anything like that going on. You know, everybody respect each other and check each other's channel out. I don't want to have a sub for sub channel either. Check each other's channel out. If it's something that you're interested in, then go ahead and sub them and whatnot. But there's no reason to sub somebody if you're not going to watch them because, or have any interest, let's put it that way, because it's not going to go anywhere from there. Yeah, I know you do a great job, Just My Fish, at answering his comments. I do believe it's Wayne, isn't it? Just My Fish. I do believe over on Just Me's channel, where we just left from, he lost a bet a day or two back that if he got to a certain level on his channel, that he was supposed to show his face, and I don't think he's come through with that honoring of that bet yet. If you look through his videos, he does a lot of fish, tropical fish type videos and stuff, and sees the tanks and stuff, and you do see his hands every now and then, but well, from what he told everybody on the stream, he's got to show his face now, so well, we'll see it sooner or later. So if you're into fish, tropical fish, or a little bit of music in the background, and just kind of want to zone out looking at some fish, and you don't want to have to bother with cleaning your own tank and going through all that stuff, hey, pull his video up on your screen and you'll have a perfectly nice clean fish tank to view. Oh, you might have made the video, but you can't prove it by us yet. It ain't out there on the air. I'm just kidding with you, Wayne. Hey, if they can put up with my mug on live stream, I guess they can put up with your mug on a video. How big are the octopuses? Uh, well, of course I would get a phone call. Or do you just have, is the tank itself, or does it have octopuses in it? Oh, shaped. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Because I was going to say, if she doesn't want you to have fish in the house, but she puts up with an octopus, I was going to say, well, something's wrong there. Plenty of snow and rain out your way this year, Pine Meadows? Are you going to have a dry year for fires? I have the same problem with, I use a voice recognition on my computer quite a bit. And I have to go back and correct everything. We got plenty of snow this year. Well, hopefully you won't have a bad fire time this year. I know the last couple of years you've had some pretty good sized fires out that way, raging up the mountain. Here, I will be right back. I'm going to handle this phone call real quick, and I will be right back. There we go. Sorry about that. Egg customer looking for eggs, and wanted to make sure if I had a couple extra dozen. $400 fires this year already? Holy cow. So it doesn't look like you're going to have too good of a year overall. You're not even in the heart of fire season yet, right? That's not good. Same here. We've had a lot of snow this winter, and then it warmed up, but we had rain in behind the snow, and then it got cold, and uh, doesn't seem like we have. Seems like we have winter and summer here now. We don't get much of a spring or a fall, and those are my two favorite seasons. Oh, I see. Can you guys hear the guineas in the background there? I'm not sure how this directional microphone works very well as far as background goes. I got like two or three guineas right outside my window here, just squawking away. So, how did everybody's weekend go? Any big barbecues out there this weekend, or anything happen that's exciting? Well, that must have put a damper on things, didn't it? Hopefully, can't hear him, Pete. Yeah, this is a directional style microphone, and usually everything on this side gets heard, and other things in the room or about don't get heard as much. Well, I thank you for coming in, R5. I appreciate it very much. If you haven't hit that old thumbs up, hit it on the way out. Now, how were they with the filming and stuff? Or they weren't fair. They weren't wimpy about the snow and everything. Thank you, Lynn. I don't mind showing that. That's You're talking about just adding for sub. I have no problem with that. Ah, okay. Thank you, R5. You have yourself a good day. Ah, they have some traumas going on, rescues and whatnot. Is that what you mean? Oh, I seem to recall. Like I say, I've watched a lot of your videos and stuff. I may not comment an awful lot, but I'll watch one for a while, and then I will pause it and come back to it. And sometimes it might be a day later I come back to it. It seems like I recall something like that. You were also having problems with the overflow of your pond at one time, wasn't you? Was the overflow or having problems something with your geese pond or duck pond? Yeah, that would be a good time to get out of Dodge there. It don't take much of an ember to get something started, especially if you're already dry. I've ran into that up country here in Maine where you'll be camping in areas and stuff, and they'll have whole sections where you can't have any open fires, and people just don't understand. One little spark and anything dry and leaves and up there and stuff, can wipe out a whole area. And it's sad when people break those types of rules and then you lose hundreds of foot of acreage uh, of land that is put aside for everybody to enjoy. So you're not just hurting yourself; you're hurting everybody. What's the name of that channel there, Pete? Is it the same one I? He just changed his channel name a little while ago. Aussie something. I haven't got it right off the top of my head. Aussie something Homestead, or he's doing a lot more prepping stuff now. Is that the same guy? You're certainly right there, Lynn. Downside of Mother Nature. She handles it. The trouble is, she should be starting the fires and not other people, though. The drama we have to put up with living on homesteads in the wilderness. Yeah, a lot of people just don't understand it. They don't get it. They don't understand what type of life somebody wants to lead. If they don't understand it, then they have a tendency to throw negatives at it. Just because you don't understand something or get it, people shouldn't down things like that. Pot of coffee or instant there, just my fish? You make a big old pot of coffee for everybody, Wayne? Ah, okay, yeah. Living the dream, yeah. Ah, there's a big debate now talking about power lines. They want to put a set of power lines straight down through the center of Maine, through some of the best camping and wilderness areas, from Canada all the way down into the lower parts of Boston, Massachusetts area, down around that way, to sell electricity. Well, the kicker is none of the electricity that's coming down through is being affected with Maine, other than them throwing a great big path of destruction to get it from one end to the other. The trouble is, we're in the middle of the other, and, well, I'm not agreeing with it, but it looks like it's going to pass. Very true, Lynn. You know, quick cigarette flipped out a car window probably has started more brush fires out west than anything. Or even, you know, a lot of people don't even understand, like, you take a motorcycle, and I'm not downing motorcycles or anything like this before I say this, but motorcycles or four-wheelers or anything that the muffler system drives a little hot. If you go through a grassy area that's very dry, you could spark a fire very easily because that muffler system gets very hot, and it doesn't take much for grass to catch, and then it goes from there. So how's your yardbirds doing, Pine Meadows? I know you had all kinds. The last time I had watched one of your shows, I think you were just getting rid of, if I remember right, you was all the way down to maybe a one or two hens. I can't remember. Were they black Australops? I can't remember what it was. I think they were, but or either that or Buff Orpingtons, one or the other. I can't remember, but I know you were getting down to only one or two hens laying there, and you were swapping out a flock. You was going to try to hatch a few out, spread it out a bit. Yeah, that's what I thought. I knew it was either black. I knew it was Buff Orpingtons or black Australorps. I just couldn't remember which one it was. Did you finally get a lot hatched out? American buff geese on a clutch of 19 eggs. Boy, they can sit on a lot of eggs. Ah, I have got a broody. What is that that's broody down there now? Jersey Giant, a black Jersey Giant that's became broody. My first broody this year, and I stuck, I think about 7, maybe 8 guinea fowl eggs underneath her, and waited about 7 days because there's a 7-day gestation period difference between chickens and guineas. So I waited about 7 days, and I threw a few hen eggs underneath her too. And so you should get a mixed clutch there. I like to have plenty of guineas around. It seems like we always lose a guinea or two. They end up, straying off, or a fox gets them or whatever. So I like to hatch out a few of those each year. I love guineas. I think they're a little noisy, but they clean up a lot of insects. And if you train them right, they don't go too far. Mine are right in with the chickens, and they actually even lay their eggs right in with chickens and the nest. And that's pretty rare because most guineas will lay their eggs all over the yard in the woods, and you have a hard time finding them. But every guinea that I've raised, when I've raised them right in with the chickens themselves, they go right to the chicken nest. Well, good morning, Arkin 13. How are you doing this morning? Come right in, pull up a seat, grab yourself a cup of coffee. I think Lynn's giving out donuts. If you would, on your way in, hit that old thumbs up button there. Snap the thumb off the top and give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it very much. Yeah, I certainly remember those episodes back there, Pine Meadows. I can remember you not being able to do very many chores for a while, and your wife had to kind of tie you down because she'd catch you going out on the porch and sneaking up to one of the animal areas and stuff. And if you haven't visited Pine Meadows Home Farm, let me say that again. Let me get it right. Pine Meadows Hobby Farm and Modern Homestead. There. Visit his channel. Check it out if you're into homesteading or animals in general and whatnot. The storyline is great. Check his channel out, and if you like it, give him a good old subs up and watch his interesting channel there. A ways back, like I said, like he was talking about the cardiac arrest. He had some heart problems there and stuff, I'll tell you, and his wife had a hard time keeping him down because once you watch some of his videos, you'll see the land that he's got. He lives up in the mountains, so you don't walk out straight across to the chickens or anything. Everything seems like it's going uphill or downhill. And with the rain on top of that, sometimes it makes a funny videoing because, slipping and sliding in the mud and whatnot. But when he was having the heart problems, his wife was having a hard time tying him down and stopping him from going out and doing some of the chores and stuff. And I understand you get a little on the restless side when you're down like that. My health gets down quite a bit. I lost about 6 months of videoing and my channel this past year, and the year before that it was another 5 or 6 months. I get a lot of breathing problems and stuff, so it's hard to build a channel of this type and keep your health together at the same time. When your health goes down, your channel goes down, and hopefully this year I can get my channel together and we can have a fun time together, get some good content out there, enjoy a few live streams, and just have some fun. Your wife slipped and fell into the duck pond one day. Oh my God, you didn't have a camera for that? Wow. I know you set out a few trail cams now and then here and there. That's an area that you probably want a trail cam on. Oh. That's when you slip a secret little piece of footage in your videos. Don't tell her about it though. When she does a little fall into the duck pond or slide down the hill toward the geese or something, you don't want to tell her about it. Just add it in there. Maybe put it in a little blooper at the end or in the middle or maybe an opening. Yeah, I remember that. Sliding down in my chair here. Did you have to get the law enforcement involved with that, or they decided that they didn't want to put up with anything? Yeah, definitely need a camera then. Oh, I missed Cherry Sheets coming in. Good morning, Cherry Sheets. Well, I thank you for coming in and sharing a cup of coffee with us. It is a beautiful day here in Maine. It's not real warm out, but the wind has died down. So just as long as the sun comes out is all. I'm happy when the sun comes out and it's not raining, and the wind's down. Ah. Well, I seem to recall that coming back. Something to do with the skunks and possums. Yeah. Were they coming up through the floor or something like that? I can't remember. But like I say, I watch a lot. I've had your shows before, believe it or not, where I've watched a particular show and probably stopped it and saved it and rewatched it 5 or 6 times before I got through the whole thing. Only because I was off doing other things, and I take care of my grandkids' daughters here in the summertime and throughout the year too, on holidays and whatnot. And so I'm always back and forth and whatnot. So a lot of the channels that I watch a lot of, I'll stop and watch them, and stop and go, stop and go, stop and go type thing. Well, take care of little E there. Tell her we got chicken videos coming up. Hurry back, Jessme. Yeah, I thought that's what it was. Like I say, anytime you say something, it really comes back to me. Good morning, Christy. How are you doing this morning, dear? I know how you're doing because you're at work, and we've already talked. You still in your meeting, or did you get out of that? Ah. Did you make your way down to the cafeteria and get that breakfast taquito? Or just settle for a Dr. Pepper? Christy's one of these people that doesn't drink coffee. I love her dearly, but she drinks Dr. Pepper in the morning. A Pop-Tart. Yeah. Don't get me started on Pop-Tarts. You know how I feel about those. When I was a kid, many, many moons ago, they first started coming out Pop-Tarts when I was a kid. They only had 2 or 3 flavors, and they didn't have frosting on them. They just crust with filling. Now you got umpteen hundred different flavors, and every single one of them's got frosting on the top, and they may have 2. Once in a while, you'll find blueberry or maybe strawberry with no frosting on them. 8 feet of Pop-Tarts on the grocery shelf there, and every one of them's got frosting on them. Oh, shut up. They had Oh. I'm not that old, They probably pounded the crust out with rocks and stones and stuff to make the crust, but, well, yeah, they had Pop-Tarts that far back. That's just about right. They only make them. Everything else got frosting on it, and it was just the opposite years ago. When Pop-Tarts first came out, they didn't have frosting on them at all. I remember ways back I made my own Pop-Tarts one time. I made them kind of on the same way as you'd make a large ravioli. I put a big, long, square, rectangular piece of pie dough out, put some preserve filling in it, some fruit preserves, and then I took and put another thing of pie dough on top, like you would when you make raviolis, and then I would cut it with a ravioli cutter that would seal it and cut it at the same time and bake them like that. Didn't come out too bad. Choco Sticks? Food of the astronauts. No, I don't remember Choco Sticks. But they had a lot of different foods, the astronauts did. Weird things that they came out with. Ah. I don't even know if I remember the 70s. These lung problems, I'm still coughing up stuff from the 70s, I think. Yeah, a little bit of that and a little bit of this. My lungs are not the best shape. Boy, those old guineas are making some racket out there this morning. I should have left my camera out there for a while. Just let it go. Well, I quit smoking, been many years ago. It's got to be close to, it's got to be close to 30 years now, somewhere around there. Well, good morning, D. Meyer. Great to have you in here. Pull yourself up a cup of coffee, his chair. Lynn is giving out donuts and Pop-Tarts. Don't expect to get one without frosting because she doesn't have any. It could be. Right on the borders of the property here where this property goes downhill and the next property over goes uphill, there's like a little bit of a valley there. So we've had so much runoff from rain and snow that area stays wet well into the summer. Sometimes all the way in through, and it stays wet all the time. The guineas are down in there. You get that swale grass that grows up about, 3.5, 4 feet. And the guineas will go right in there like a jungle, and you can hear them and see the grass moving around in there. There's probably a 60, 70-foot wide by a couple 100-foot path of that grass in there, and they spend hours in there hunting down little snakes and salamanders and frogs and anything else that they can get a hold of. It's hard to get any footage of them. I try to get some footage of them when they're right on the edges of it, and they're just heads popping up. There's some on my Instagram page, a couple photos of them in there and stuff. But I enjoy them. They're a lot of fun to work with. I love taking pictures of them. Well, I thank you for coming in, Arkin. I appreciate it very much. If you haven't hit that thumbs up button, hit it on the way out through the door for me, please. It really does help the channel out. I welcome you back. I'm right there with you, Pine Meadows. A little bit on the fluffy side myself, although I've been keeping it down a lot more than I have been. My problem is pasta and bread and potatoes. But if I had to pick one out of the three, I'd go with the potatoes, rather be white potatoes or sweet potatoes. But if I can keep a handle on the bread and the pasta end of it, I find myself a lot better suited with it. I can regulate the weight a little bit better just staying away from those two things. All right, D. You have a good day now, D minor. The fluff can be fleeced. Oh. Oh. My trouble is when I get in the heat of the day. Uh, if I'm carrying around too much weight when it's hot, I have a hard time, and that's when you have a hard time with the breathing problems and stuff like that. So I try to shave off as much as I can for the summer months because I really, really do not like the heat. Oh, trade my keg for a six pack. Well, I'd be happy trading the keg for maybe just one of those little pony kegs. Sourdough, watermelon, and cherries. Ah. Speaking of sourdough, I've got a sourdough video in the making. I'm doing little bits and pieces of feeding sourdough, and I'll be doing some sourdough videos coming up here pretty soon. Speedo? I do not think anything to do with Speedos. You know me better than that. Speedo. Yeah, I've had, yes, Pine Meadows. I've got a starter that I have had for, oh, I don't know how many years now. It goes back quite a ways. Uh, well, let's put it this way: the grandkids are 11 and 9, I believe, if I remember right, and it goes back to about when they were born. And before that, I had a starter even longer than that. But I keep it going. If I'm not doing any cooking, I'll feed it and let it set out for 2 or 3 hours, and then I set it in the fridge to let it go dormant. And it can stay dormant for a month or two. It's really hard to kill it once it's in the fridge. It might have a hard time coming back if you let it go too far, but you have a hard time killing those as long as you feed it, let it get started, then put it in the fridge. You can't feed those when they're down like that and then put it in the fridge because it won't get active. You got to let it get active enough to keep it alive while it's in that dormant stage. But long story short, yes, I've made my own starter. In fact, that's what some of the video is going to be about. I'm going to not only feed my own starter and take it all the way into where you go through the baking process and making a sponge and the whole bit and various different things, everything to do with breads to English muffins and all that kind of stuff, to starting a starter from scratch too. So show people how easy it is. Because it's really, really one of those easy types of things to do. And it tastes so good. And it's good for you. Sourdough breads are. If you're going to eat anything, you're better off with that type of bread. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm planning on doing, Pine Meadows. You hit it right on the head. Uh, I'm going to take one from, I'm going to do a little series from start to scratch, scratch to scratch, and go right straight through from making it all the way up to making the products. I would say probably my favorite thing of all time for sourdough is English muffins. Now, when I say English muffins, I'm not talking about those little tiny little English muffins that you buy like in a store. I make the big English muffins because the way I use them, I like them toasted with various different things on them, but I also like to use them as a hamburger bun or make a sandwich, tomatoes, cheese, lettuce, and cold cuts or whatever. They make, you can do so many things with them if you make them thicker and bigger around. But yeah, that's got to be probably my favorite thing would be English muffins. Or I also make an English muffin loaf. It's in a bread loaf, but it's in an English muffin style, and that toasts really good. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Pine Meadows. Well, you're going to have to find the yellow pages or something there, Lynn, because this Brad's already taken, and I do believe Christy can follow that along. I got to do the cooking because I know she hates to admit it, and she's probably going to shoot me for doing this or saying this, but, well, she can't cook. Speaking of cooking and Christy, I'll tell you a little story. She has to have a map drawn out. I drew her a nice little map out that goes from the living room, to the kitchen. The map is. And I also drew these two square-looking things. One was kind of small and rectangular, and it got hot. It was metal. And the other metal object was tall and rectangular, and it got cold. I had to explain those things to her, and, well, she's not a big cook. Let's put it that way. Good morning, Just Liv'n. How you doing, Paula? Mr. Brad. Brad is just good enough. Oh. If your better half is in earshot, good morning, Princess Morning Hair. Rambles. If you took the microwave out of the kitchen, you wouldn't even use the kitchen, would you now? You know that. Well, when you're on, Paula, in the morning and you're doing your live stream and you have that shot down the hallway through the rooms and she's in the living room area there and doing her reading or whatever she's doing there. That's what I'm yelling to you when I type that in there. Good morning, Princess Morning Hair. Oh. Yeah, you can make it to the fridge, I know. Especially the ice maker. Oh. Speaking of Wayne, I was egging Wayne on uh, about showing his face on his next video, and he was giving me the same line as he gave you guys, Paula, about having to edit it and this and that and whatnot. Oh, maybe if you look really hard when he's doing one of those fish tank videos, you can catch his reflection in the mirror. I'm not in the mirror, but in the glass of the tank. What's a microwave? Just ask Christy. She knows what it is. She cooks popcorn, cooks potatoes, warms up this, warms up that. I have to admit, I do use a microwave quite a bit. I like to make fast baked potatoes in the microwave, or I should say steamed. They're not really baked, but I actually like to make those mug type cakes in the microwave, where you put a little bit of cake mix and egg and oil in it, mix it up, and zap it in the microwave for about 60 seconds, and makes you a nice little hot mug cake. The nice thing about those is you get one little serving, and you don't have another whole cake kicking around that you keep nibbling on. She probably went to the same school as Christy. She did. Oh, Christy has mastered the can opener too. I know that, and the microwave. And she can open the fridge door, but only the section that has the Dr. Pepper and the ice maker. She has that under control. You did a couple cooking videos a ways back, didn't you, Pine Meadows? A reflection of him. Oh. How's Legs and Opal doing? Are they still at it? Unless it gets really bad, Paula. I mean, I don't mean that little bit of blood you're showing me on the comb, because the combs bleed very easy anyways. It's sort of like they're on the same idea as a person. If you get a little tiny cut on your head and you're all worked up and stuff, it'll bleed, fairly good. But unless they're really hurting each other, I mean bad, you got to let that pecking order go, because if you keep stopping them, what it does, it just prolongs the pecking order. So they're just going to be at it a little bit longer, a little bit. So let them get at it, let them get it done with, and once the pecking order is established, they'll be happy, and they'll go on with their lives, and it won't interrupt your egg production. You'll be surprised when you have problems like that, how it will interrupt the egg production. Oh. Well, when I get the ladder, how about if I have an extension ladder so I can adjust it as I get out of the hole? I'll tell you, I've had problems with predators before, hawks and foxes. And if you mark down the day of the week that you had those problems and mark it on your calendar, I guarantee you within 24 to 48 hours later, your egg production will go down slightly, just from the excitement and the stress of something like that happening. It doesn't take much to interrupt that egg production. I've had times where, you're collecting 3 dozen eggs a day, and then you have a day or two where you have a predation problem or some kind of stress problem of some type within the flock itself, and all of a sudden, 24 to 48 hours later, you're collecting a dozen and a half. Yeah, speaking of roosters, I've got 3 roosters down there, and they're all 3 of them being culled this year. Uh, I don't want to get the bloodlines mixed up too much, so I'm going to take out all 3 roosters this year and go from there. And next year, well, actually, I'll bring in another rooster probably late summer, and so get a little bit of different bloodline in, especially with my New Hampshire Reds. I don't care so much about the mixed flock, the one that you see on the videos a lot with the mixture of the flock there. But I have a flock that's about 26 Rhode Island Reds. I don't know why I keep saying Rhode Island Reds, but New Hampshire Reds there that are what I call my breeding flock. And I've got a couple years of breeding out of them. And what I'm going to do is start culling some of the better hens out of there and put them together with a rooster next year. And we'll start it all over again. So the line of a bloodline, I should say, stays nice and fresh. Good God. Oh, that probably would be a good outtake to have at the end of your video there, Wayne. But I've got a lot of older birds in the mixed flock too that are pushing 4 and 5 years old, and I mean they're great to have around and this and that. But looking at it as a practical point, sense as far as what you're feeding and what you're getting out of them, some of those hens might lay an egg a week, but yet you're feeding them 7 days a week. It gets expensive after a while. So I'll be doing some culling this year. I ain't gonna be doing any videos of it or anything like that. There's plenty of videos out there of culling the chickens and doing all that and stuff. I will put them in the old what I call the old freezer camp, and making some nice beef stock, chicken stock, and various different things, pot pies and like that. Pressure cook them mostly to just strip the meat off and save the broth and stalks and stuff. But the hens may be a little bit tougher then, but as far as flavor goes, you can't beat the flavor. Yeah, I wouldn't be doing any videoing of it or anything like that. Maybe a few recipes and a few cooking videos later on, especially pot pies or that type of thing, or some stock, canning stock. They certainly can be. They certainly can be fussy. I'll tell you. I try to keep these two flocks separate. I got the one New Hampshire red flock out right now, and they're out and about in the edge of the fields and down the back grass, and I leave them out. They've been out since about 7:30 this morning, so I'll leave them out probably till just about the end of this live stream. Then they will go back into their run, and I'll let the other flock out. Are you still tired, Christy? You need another Dr. Pecker? I can't tell if that emoji is a tired or... Oh, Pine Meadows Hobby Farm just subbed My Fishes channel. There you go. I think you'll enjoy it. I've sat back in the mornings, especially just to chill out, have a cup of coffee, and watch the fish before. Very good, Pine Meadows. All good channels. Paula runs a pretty good live stream in the morning. You know. Now I get it. You won't regret it, any of those channels, and the same goes to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. Great channel. Very diverse. Like I said, all kinds of animals. There's something always going on there. Ah, I see. Yeah, I can remember you was talking about being in the hospital type work and that type of stuff way back when I did. If I remember right, and this is pushing my memory some, and you know how memories are when we get old there, Pine Meadows. I think back when I was doing the video on Bumblefoot, I had the Mrs. Bumblefoot, which I still got. And she's one of my last black Australorps, Mrs. Bumblefoot. When I was doing the Bumblefoot video series there, I think you had come on and did a couple comments on that, didn't you? If I remember right. It's a bank holiday here in UK. I managed to get it off today. You have separate bank holidays? Wow. Guilty as charged. I thought you did. I don't remember you saying anything negative or anything like that. I did get a little bit of negativity on that video and stuff. But, you know, And I know there's a lot of ways to treat that type of situation, but what people don't realize is if it's got a lot to do with how bad it is. You know, if you got some bumblefoot very bad and it's swelled up and you're having a hard time with it, you know, the soaking and all that kind of stuff isn't going to really do it, in my opinion, anyways. And most of the vets I've talked to, in their opinions, also, if it gets that bad, it's got to get taken care of, you know, and surgically removed, and you know, put the old antibiotics to it, or the creams to it, and get it taken care of, because it, you know, once it gets to that point where the ankle is swelled up and it starts to go up the leg as far as the heat goes, it doesn't take long before that, and then all of a sudden the hen's gone. You know, so. But anyways, you know, I try not to do controversial videos and all that kind of stuff, because you're going to get some heat from it. You're going to get, if you look at that video, that bumblefoot video now, I don't know, I can't remember. It's over 1,000 views. It's maybe even 1,500 or 2,000. I don't know, but it's somewhere around there. But there's 2 or 3, maybe 4 or 5 negative thumbs downs on it and stuff. But hey, you know, I respect my hens and the animals. I want to give them as best life as I can, and I don't want somebody to go through that much pain and for weeks of soaking and trying to get something done like that and not working, and end up having to do it anyways. So like I said, I usually opt out with the surgery technique and get it out of there, get it wrapped up. And if you watch that video, the bumblefoot video on my channel, you'll see that hen was much better off with it. That same day she was up there hopping around and walking, where the day before that she was limping, you know, and stuff. It's just, to me, in my opinion, it's the way to go. But like I say, it's my opinion and my opinion only, and well, you know how opinions go and what they say about opinions. We'll leave it at that. I would like to do some more videos on managing poultry, as far as some of the various different things that you can help to prevent various different things like that. All right, I think I'm going to wind it down, guys. We've been close to an hour and a half. I got some things I got to handle and get done. This video that we're on right now, like I said before, I will usually edit the very beginning of it and cut it back a little bit so it blends a little bit better. The chat will stay in the window that you see my picture in, because the minute you edit a video that is live, a live stream, you lose the chat on the right. YouTube takes it down and disables it. That's why I keep the chat in the window at the same time, so I can do some editing myself and replay the video, because there's other people that missed the live stream and they want to, you know, chime in there and leave comments and whatnot. So I'm gonna leave it in there, redo it, and it'll be back up, and you know, and take a look at it and whatnot. But anyways, make sure you're checking everybody out. You know, if you're interested in a particular channel and you're enjoying it, hey, don't be afraid to hit that old sub button and watch some of the videos and whatnot. But if you do that, make sure you do it the right way, like I say, and watch the videos full length. You know, and don't be afraid to put a comment down, and you know, it's not going to hurt you to hit that old thumbs up button. You know, and this is something I always say. If you have to hit a thumbs up button on a channel, that's fine. Hit a thumbs down button on a channel. that's fine. But, leave a comment, why you're doing it. I've always said that over the years, if you're going to leave that thumbs down, tell me why you put the thumbs down. But don't be afraid as channels with the thumbs downs and stuff. It's still activity on your channel. YouTube recognizes it as activity. And so we not dwell on them. We just kind of pass them on there. But anyways, this is something I've always said all the time. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know what's coming. Wherever you are in your neck of the woods, be it morning, noon, or night, be good to one another. God bless. Take care.